What's the easiest choice you can make? Window instead of middle seat? Picking a vendor who sends a great gift basket? Outsourcing business tasks you hate? What about selling with Shopify? Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit a million orders stage. Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell. Wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/try. Go to shopify.com/try now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/try.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
No music, no intro. Another episode of hashtag Saints Twitter podcast. We had to get our boy Kevin Patra on. We tried to get him on for the Lions Saints preview. Had an emergency, couldn't happen, but we wanted Kevin on. The Saints are in their bye, and they have their own set of drama that they have. Ryan and I are going to get to that later, but right now we just want to talk with Kevin, like just about macro, like around the league, like just thoughts and just terms of just NFL in general. Like, but I want to say this before I forget. Like rest in peace, Von McClure.
Oh yeah, man.
Beat writer who covered the Falcons for ESPN, passed away today at 48. Just terrible news. And so my thoughts and prayers, and all of our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, and may he rest in peace.
Yeah, man, he's such a good guy. So my job is aggregating a lot of stuff, and I swear every time that I would quote one of his stories on the Falcons or whatever, he would DM me and be like, "Hey man, thanks for linking out to me and mentioning my name and everything." Every single time. That's the kind of guy he was. Like stand-up guy all around, 100%, gave it everything he had. I mean, it's really, really sad. Like whatever happened, like, man, it's not, it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
It does. So I mean, it sucks, and you just never know. Obviously live life to the fullest, and treat every day the best you can. So like let's dive into it. Like when I just say the NFL to you, Kevin, right now, do you want to start with like teams and records, or we want to start with pandemic? Like where should we start?
I mean, why don't we start with a little bit of both? Like the Titans, man, they look freaking good. Like considering they hadn't practiced in 2 weeks, did not expect them to play as well as they did. I kind of expected them to win, but I did not expect them to roll over an undefeated Bills team and look as good doing it, without Simmons in the middle on defense, and not having practice, and missing Corey Davis and missing Humphrey. And it just speaks to the type of team that they have and what they can do. I mean, that was a put your stamp on the league, let everybody know we're for real game, given the circumstances.
I didn't see it, but I saw enough of it. I just like they are just so annoying now.
Oh, I get you. I feel it.
It's just like I look at it as like you, and I mean. The fact that they were, I won't say negligent, but in a way negligent, and just completely gave two shits about playing football in a pandemic after there was an outbreak, and then there was like the practices that took place, and that was like organized. And so now they're like making themselves out to be like the bad guy.
That's the part of it that I don't get. And the fans
like
are
what?
the fans are all pissed off about everybody making fun of them. But like you're right, they did do it. Whether they knew they were supposed to or not, they had a practice outside of protocol, which every team knows they're not supposed to. I mean, agreed. The whole like us against the world mentality is kind of a little bit like eyebrow raising. Like really, you guys
really like what?
Yeah. You guys forced the league to readjust like 12 other teams. So, and you're
We're sitting here watching football on a Tuesday. So.
Right. Yeah. So I get that side. But from a purely football perspective, like Tannehill looked great. Brown coming back healthy is huge.
They're easily a top echelon AFC team, like without question.
Yes. Agreed.
Especially when you think about how they dealt with the Ravens last year. It's like, okay, I don't think anybody would have picked. I mean, I'm sure some people did pencil them in as a Super Bowl contender, but they starting to make you look at them a little seriously. Like, okay, they really might have something here,
And I think, and we kind of overlooked the Clowney signing because it happened so late. And yes, he doesn't get the sacks and stuff, but he works with Vrabel so well. Like Vrabel knows how to use him to get the most. Like he moves him around a lot more than like you've seen in the past few years once Vrabel left Houston. And he could just okay, we know you're not going to get sacks, but here rush from the middle on third down and push the pocket for us, and we'll throw somebody else out the edge. And I just think that they're so much smarter than they come off as a team. And they can bash you in the face with Henry, and then they can, send AJ Brown deep and he'll run you over too. I just think there's such a physical team in a finesse league now that they bring something to the table that nobody else, especially during the regular season, you're not preparing for that. It's like one of those bad matchups for most teams. Cause you're not going to be prepared off of 1 week. Cause you were just playing, you were playing the Chiefs the last week and you were preparing for something completely different. So I just think they bring something different, and you add in the COVID, like how they screwed everyone over, and don't think they screwed everyone over, but they did. But that aspect is it's just fascinating that it took 5 weeks, but the pandemic screwed everything up, and we're gonna see how many waves it's gonna make until they have to add an 18th week. But so far, surprisingly, you know what? It's wild how we've gone through this, but in a way, it's still pretty impressive that I haven't had to forfeit a game or cancel a game. I really thought that the Titans were going to have to forfeit this game to the Bills. And in hindsight, I'm glad we didn't, because we got to see what type of team they are. And conversely, what type of team the Bills want to be, but they just aren't there yet. Their defense. So I would say this is probably the worst defense Sean McDermott has had on the field in his few years. And I know I take a lot of it with a grain of salt on defensive end right now, because pretty much every team but 3 have a shitty defense right now. I think it's just a product of playing in a pandemic. So I don't want to hammer them too bad, but their defense has been a sieve for 3 weeks. And they, ever since that Rams game where they let them come back from 28-3 or whatever it was, 28-7 and they haven't been able to stop a soul. So, this is, and we saw Josh Allen playing at an MVP level can overcome those. And Josh Allen playing at above what Josh Allen was the past few years, but not an MVP level. This is who they are. So they need him to play up, and they need him to not turn the ball over, because the defense just isn't there right now.
Yeah, I guess, and it's I guess navigating Josh Allen is just going to be their whole season. Plus the defense. It's funny because like you said 3 weeks ago, I remember the first half of that Rams game, I tweeted man. The Bills' defense is just so efficient and just fundamentally sound. And then after that, it's just they hadn't been good since.
Yeah, I mean, they had some injuries up the middle, but they had everybody the last couple of weeks, and they still haven't been able to stop anybody. I just think with the Josh Allen thing, they did such a smart job going out and giving whatever they needed to give to get Diggs. And you saw on Tuesday when John Brown is not in the lineup, the field gets condensed so much more, and it makes it so much harder on Diggs that I think that played a bigger role than the national media will point out. I think not having him to give, because they go 4 wide more than any other team in the league. They had the first 3-4 weeks, and without Brown out there, they couldn't do that. So Titans were able to sit in the zone and be like, okay, Josh, we're going to watch you, not going to let you scramble, and go ahead and find a hole. And he just can't He's not that quarterback. He's not the quarterback that's gonna have a 20-play drive where he just picks you apart on short slants all day. He's the anti-Drew Brees.
Drew Brees.
Yeah, he's the anti-Brees. Like, so he's just not that quarterback. And you saw that when he doesn't have one of those pieces, they can move the ball a little bit. They outgained. Part of it was because of turnovers, but they outgained the Titans in the game. It was just 2 bad turnovers and then a special teams touchdown by the Titans that blew it open. But I think they're a good team. I still think they're, especially with New England having to play without Cam for 1 week, they get down 2 games in the division. That's no joke coming back. So I still think they're the class of that division, but they got some problems, like most teams.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts right now on the Chiefs in terms of, like, are you worried about them? And then I'm not either. And do you believe in the Raiders?
I'm not worried about the Chiefs. The Chiefs, we have this thing where we do this overreacting every year. Like the Patriots were the number one example for 20 years with Brady. You figure out who you are in September and the beginning of October, and then you roll. And I'm not worried about the Chiefs' offense clicking. Patrick was off badly against the Raiders. Like he had TY on, like, I think I charted like 3 or 4 deep shots that he just missed, or like one, and the first touchdown got called back by a hold, and they shot themselves in the foot that game. So I'm not worried about the Chiefs in the least. I think their defense is like with a lot of them, they're going to figure it out as we go. But if Patrick misses 4 or 5 throws a week, then you can beat him. But if he doesn't miss 4 or 5, if he misses 2, you're still screwed. They still had a chance to win that game, even though he did not. And let's be honest, we put him up to a high bar. So it's not fair for me to say, but he has not played that well to start the season.
No, that's true.
He just hasn't. True. Just and now, would you take him on your team over the corporate? Absolutely. He still played better than most, but he hasn't played to the level that we know he's able to play. He hasn't.
On his scale, yeah.
Right, and he's not played better than Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. He hasn't. So when he gets to that, and I think it'll get there. They're still figuring out what they want to do, and we can talk about the Le'Veon Bell edition. I think Bell doesn't have it. I may call me a hater, whatever, and maybe we'll see the anti-Gase situation tenfold. But he just doesn't have speed. He couldn't break a tackle to save his life. He tries hard. I'm not going to say the man works his ass off, and you can see it on plays. But I just think he's not running away from guys. Now we'll see if he can get again with a line that can actually block a soul, because the Jets couldn't block anybody. So maybe his style of approaching the line, and then when he actually has a hole, he can hit it and maybe go forward. But the Jets, anytime he tried to get outside, he was just like dragged down after 2 yards. It just wasn't there. So we'll see. I think I get why they wanted to make that addition, and I agree with it, that they probably needed something. I'm not sure he's the answer, but, Clyde Edwards was there. So he came out the gate, but the last 3 weeks, their run game has been stymied, and Darnell Williams is not the answer. He did not look good, trying to catch a couple passes at the end of the Raiders game. So I think that the run game needs to get a little bit more on balance so that it can open up the deep shots. And Patrick's just got to hit him. Like I said, he had 3 or 4 the other day that I was just like, damn, he just missed Hill deep, just missed him. Like just 3 or 4 steps. And that usually doesn't happen. But with normal quarterbacks, that happens all the freaking time. We just held him up to such a higher standard. And your other question, I do believe that the Raiders are a wild card team in the AFC. They can be. I think, but here's the issue with the Raiders is they played a perfect game for them against the Chiefs, and they have to play a perfect game to beat better teams. The reason they lost to Buffalo is they turned the ball over. If Carr doesn't turn the ball over and he plays a ball control offense and they get 10 play, 75-yard drives, they can win. And I think Ruggs changes the complexion of that offense completely, because yes, this week was like the first time I can remember being like, damn, he went deep. Derek Carr went deep more than twice in one game. And we just hadn't seen that. Right. So I think that with Ruggs on the field, maybe Derek's like, okay, I'll throw it deep. I'll do that. And that changes their offense. and it gets them closer to what they want to be. But I still worry about that defense. I don't know that they're going to hold up. Like I said, the Chiefs moved the ball and made some uncharacteristic miscues for them. But we'll see. I need to see more out of the Raiders pass rush before I jump on board and like they're going to compete with the Chiefs. I don't see that. Now, can they overtake like the Colts for because I mean, we got to figure we got an extra wild card this year. So I got to go somewhere. Do I believe in the Raiders, the Colts, or the Browns? I mean, those are your choices right now. So
Yeah.
Right.
I think they're right in the mix. Luckily, they're in the right conference.
Division. Yeah.
Right.
Kind of switching over to the NFC. I mean, who would you say is pretty much the class of the NFC right now? I mean, Green Bay. I mean, probably out of Green Bay and Seattle, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I mean, watching Seattle games is so fun. It's so ridiculous. I can't put them as like, I couldn't say they're the best team though, because their defense is so freaking bad. Yeah. Like so bad. And Russ is my MVP, and because he's so fun to watch and he's so freaking good that it doesn't even matter that their defense is historically bad. Like as good as it was in the Legion of Boom years, it's that bad right now. They cannot stop a soul. And it's just wild how they come back. Like it doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't happen. Like luckily for them, Dalvin Cook got hurt, or otherwise they lose that game because he hits the hole on 4th and 1 that Alexander Madison missed, and that game is ill-milked. And then Seattle's 4-1, tied with the Rams. I think every team. I would say, to answer your question, I think the Packers are the class, and only because Aaron Rodgers has been playing out of his mind good. Mm-hmm. Like if you told me that Aaron Rodgers is the MVP over Russ, I'd be like, I disagree with you, but I get it because he's been that good and he hasn't had Devontae Adams for 2.5 games. And that's really it. And now they've had a great schedule. They've played some crap teams, the Lions and the Falcons, who are combined 1-8. So, I mean, they've had a pretty cushy schedule, but they've still done it without a lot of pieces, and their defense is at least better than Seattle's right now. And the Rams are up there, but I think you got to be more than 4 NFC East teams. That's it. You can't do that. And then in the South, like I think the Saints and the Bucks are just going to keep going back and forth with like they look good, they don't look good, they look good, they don't look good. Yeah. So like I just think that's the makeup of these teams right now. We'll see if the Saints, and we don't have to get into depth, so because you're going to go in obviously, but if they get Michael Thomas back with his head on straight, I think the last couple of weeks have done enough to solidify me as like, okay, Breeze might only be able to throw deep once a game, but at least he's willing to throw more than 6 yards past the line of scrimmage now. Like the last couple of weeks, he was. I think he had like 4 passes over 15 air yards last week, which is fine, and he's getting more comfortable with Emmanuel Sanders, which I think is huge. But like he's just not gonna go deep. There was do you remember a couple weeks ago against Dallas when Jarvis Landry threw that touchdown pass?
Yes.
He tweeted like the next day. He's like, I threw one pass and I feel like I tore my my chest or something like that. And I feel like that's Drew Brees. He's like got one. He knows he's got one deep shot in him, and he's gonna feel sore shit the next day. But he's got one bullet. He's got one bullet. Like I don't know. He's like
like an old gunslinger.
yeah, just one in the chamber, and he's got to just pick his right time because he knows he doesn't have another one. But like, as long as
that's funny because when you watch him, it's funny because when you watch him, it's looking like he's like, oh, do I do it now?
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna throw it there. I'm gonna throw it to Alvin Kamara to flex.
Yeah. He's got one a game. If he goes deep 3 or 4 times a game, I'm gonna be like, wow, what happened? But like, that's just who he is, and they can win. But like they have defensive issues. The Bucks didn't play well this past week on defense. I was stunned that they let Nick Foles come back at the end. I think they have a good defense, but there was just something about that game that Carlton Davis was playing 20 yards off and just letting Allen Robinson catch 30 balls underneath. I didn't get that game plan, but whatever. It is what it is. And Brady is, I think people are giving Brady more shit than he deserves. Considering he's looked fine. Like he's thrown the ball deep well. Like he doesn't have the numbers because frankly half of his deep shots have gotten DPIs and they don't show up in a stat book. Like he's thrown the ball very well. Like, yes, he struggle to maneuver the pocket more than he did in the past when he's pressured? Yes, of course. He's fucking 43 years old. He can't move. So, like, of course, if you get pressure in his face, he's going to suck. That's always been the case with Tom Brady. Always. And the fact that they're 3-2 with, after playing now a pandemic offseason, no offseason, he was breaking the rules and going to freaking sandlots or whatever the hell they were doing in the offseason just to get work in. Like, I wouldn't be too worried about them if I were a Bucks fan. I would be like, okay, we're where we probably should be. It hurts that we lost the division game to start the season. That probably hurts more than anything. But I don't know. I think they're both playoff teams. And I'm actually, to stay there, just because I thought about it today. I'm actually really, really, really impressed with the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, man.
Like, I don't believe they're a playoff team, but damn it, they play freaking hard. They got a lot of young guys. They're fun to watch. Their defense doesn't have a lot of pieces, but they fly around. Even if they miss tackles, they're there. They're just kind of a fun, spunky team, and they haven't had a tough schedule. And I think they're gonna collapse at some point. But like they should have lost to the Chargers, but like stuff like that. Like, the record doesn't necessarily reflect, but they're fun. And I thought they would be one of the worst teams in the league. Teddy's managed the game very well. Like, we know he does. He's got a lot of yak guys. And Robbie Anderson is actually becoming a wide receiver. And it just proves that, like, Gase fucks everyone over. Because
everybody.
He's just not – he'd shown this year that under Rule that he can be more than just take the top off the defense. Hey, run the niner out, run, like, just go deep, and if we get you once a game, we're happy. He can actually run routes. He reminds me of, like, what everyone wanted Ted Ginn to be. Like, everyone wanted Ted Ginn to be more than, like, the guy that goes deep, and after a while it's like, oh, well, that's what you are. And, like, that's what we kind of figured Robbie Anderson was, but he's actually not more. Like, he's figured out that, like, okay, they got to respect me deep, so if I break my route off, and he has a coach that's willing to, like, put him in the spot and a quarterback that's willing to put it on him. I think he's played really well compared to what his expectations was coming in. I just think I think they'll fall off, but, like, the fact that they're 3-2 out the gate is really, really impressive, and kind of speaks to, like, the coaching staff and what they can be down the road when they get more pieces on defense. And and their offensive line has been actually one of the more impressive groups, because, again, I thought they were going to suck on the whole line, and they've actually protected and opened up holes. And the fact that they're doing this without CMC is, I think, really impressive.
No, it is. And that's who the Saints play after they get off their bye. I want to quickly, I know you got to run soon, but I want to quickly hit with you about some young quarterbacks in the league and just some quarterbacks in general. We'll kind of do rapid fire. Let's talk very quickly future of Matt Ryan, Matthew Stafford, Dwayne Haskins, Daniel Jones.
Man. All right. I mean, Matt Ryan, I looked at his contract today. Have you seen what his contract is if they get rid of him next year?
It's like they have, I believe it's like negative $44 in dead cap space.
Yeah. $49 million in dead cap space if they cut him next year.
Ooh.
So they got to either find a trade partner. I mean, this is okay. So assuming that, so their schedule goes from, like, one of the more difficult ones to, like, one of the easier ones. So if they end up outside the top 10, I don't see them moving on at all. But if they end up with the top 2 or 3 pick, which they're bad enough to, I think that they have to take a quarterback. I just, if they're 1 or 2 and there's a quarterback out there, I think you got to let the new regime have their guy. And maybe you have to just bite the bullet and say, okay, Matt, you're going to have to help our guy out. And, maybe it's a situation where it's a Tua situation where the guy sits for a little bit and then starts. But, like, that situation, unless there's the team. Now, what I haven't done is look at what San Francisco's cap looks next year.
Oh, you read my mind.
And now, if they were willing to say, okay, we'll take X amount of the money off your plate, and we'll give you X pick or whatever, maybe I could see that. Now, that it would have to be a perfect situation, and it'd have to be worth the money wise. But that's, like, barring that, I don't see how they just outright cut it. It just doesn't make sense financially. You might as well pay. You're paying the guy anyway. You might as well keep him on the roster. But I think they should, frankly, if they get a when they get a new coach, new GM, they should let those guys. I hate when the guys come in and they're like, oh, this is what we got. Okay, we can't move anywhere. Well, you have the number 2 pick. You can move somewhere. You can, plan for your future, not with a 38-year-old quarterback or whatever. Who else did you name? Dwayne Haskins. I think that situation is oddly fascinating and kind of sad to me because I really like Ron Rivera as a person, but I kind of feel like he's screwing over Haskins for a pipe dream. Like, he's looking at the NFC. Like, basically what he came out and said is, we have a chance to win the division because our division sucks. So I'm going to make a QB change. And what goes unsaid is, I don't think this guy can win. We can't win with this guy. And it also goes unsaid is, well, if the Cowboys had just won a few games earlier in the year and they were 4-1, then Haskins would still have his job. I just think it's kind of a backwards way to approach everything. If you don't want him as the quarterback, just say, we're going in another direction. I think Ron Rivera has earned enough respect throughout the league that people will be like, he really doesn't like Haskins. He was put, because now you're just defending him with the defenses he could have made in and of himself. This wasn't my guy. He doesn't have to say that, but he's not my guy. Like, you could just not have said anything. But the way he framed it was just kind of shitty, in my opinion. And it's like, so if they lose to the Giants with Kyle Allen, who is nobody's answer to anything, and then what? Then you're 1-5 along with the Giants in the basement, and you're not coming back from that. Like, I know you're in a shitty division, but if they don't win out the next 4 games, then what was the point of all that? Like, if you want to get Alex Smith in there, then say, well, we really like Alex. We want to get him a chance. Didn't that look good to me? He did. He looked dead in the water to me. He was playing, Aaron Donald jumping on his back on the first series does not help anyone. And you're playing in basically a monsoon. So I don't know if I should bash him for looking like he just missed a year with the most devastating injury anybody's returned from, or like be like, okay, well, maybe he'll be better next time he gets on the field. I don't know. But I think for Haskins, he needs to play. The guy needs to play. He started 1 year at Ohio State. He started not his 7 games his rookie year, and he got 4 in this year. Like, he needs to play in order to figure out. Nobody knows what he can be. He's got tools. He's got a big arm, but his feet are a freaking mess. He stares down his first reads like my kid stares me down in the middle of the night drinking a bottle. Like
make your move, Dad. Make your move.
Like he just stares down his first read. Like, I'm like, okay, if I was the cornerback on the other side of the field is running over to tackle the guy already because he hasn't moved on. So he's not going to learn any of that. You're basically saying if you're not playing him, then you might as well cut him and let some other team pick him up because he needs to play. You're not going to know what he is by sitting on the bench. And if Ron Rivera is telling us he doesn't have it, like, then they just wasted another first round pick.
Yeah, I think that's the case too.
So Stafford is an interesting one because he played well down the stretch last year. He played well before he got hurt last year. And he doesn't, to me, look that healthy still. Like, I know everyone says he's 100%, he's 100%. You see him, like, kind of brace before he takes hits a little bit. I've noticed, like, it just feels like he's like, I know I'm going to get hit, like Winston, as opposed to, like, doing like Herbert did and, like, take one on the chin and make a throw downfield. Like, he's not doing that. And he's, like, kind of getting not sidestepping pressure in the pocket as well as he used to. So it's interesting to me. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and say, well, you missed half a season. Like, let's play through it. But he's another guy that's been put in a shitty situation by his coaching staff. Like, he's got to be perfect all game, every game, because his defense is so bad that, like, he turns the ball once over and you're like, well, there's the game. That's the kind of quarterback. He's always been a guy that's going to take risks. So his future, I think he's another one where there's a lot of money tied into it. They could get out of it, and which it wouldn't be that bad if they had like a top pick and, they had a quarterback in mind with I don't see how Matt Patricia survives unless in my nightmare scenario, they have now the easiest schedule for the next like 7 weeks and they win 5 games and they're like 6-3 or 6-5 and like teetering on the edge. And it's like, oh, look, Matt Patricia can win games because it's bullshit. Like a few weeks ago, people were like all like changing the narrative on why Jim Caldwell got fired in Detroit. And it was mostly because he can't win the big game. So if now Matt Patricia beats a bunch of schlub teams but lost all the good ones early in the year, then what was the point of it? So, like, I hope I kind of rooting for them to suck, frankly, at this point, because They're not good enough to beat anybody good.
So
why not? Like,
they're not a good team. Do you think
they're not?
Do you think, because there was the, and I don't know if it was draft positioning or what have you, do you think they regret like potentially passing on Tua? Oh, maybe you could say Herbert, but I know the talk was Tua and all that prior to the draft at 3. Because I love Jeff Dokuda coming out, but he's
struggled. No, he's
good.
struggled. Again, I mean, rookie cornerbacks, I think we talked about this last time. Cornerback's the toughest position, and you're looking at a rookie who coming in, put in a bad spot, no off season anyway. Like, I'm not judging a rookie corner until year 2 or
That's
3.
fair. That's fair.
It's just not how I'm going to operate. And he's been put in a bad spot and you put him in a defense with no pass rush and ask him to cover for 6 seconds. Like, now you're a doubly acting. Like, yes, he's looked some really bad on some reps. Like, Devontae Adams made him look like a fool. But, like, Devontae Adams does that to good corners too, so I can't hate him on him too bad. Like, so I personally, did I kind of want them to draft Tua? Yeah, kind of did. But you weren't going to do that. The moment the ownership said, you guys got to win or else, it was out the window. They weren't going to draft use their first round pick on somebody for somebody that they're not going to be here anymore when we don't win. So I don't think they regret it. No, as fans should be a little bit regret it. We'll see. I did want to. I wasn't thinking they should give up on Stafford this year after how he played last year. But if he continues the trend that he's on to start this year, I don't see how you don't at least draft an heir. And it's kind of the Mats are in a similar situation where like they could easily be caddying for a rookie next year and on their way out the year after. Stafford's a little bit easier to trade or cut, but and he's younger, so I think there'd be more teams. Like, I don't know why I've had this like daydream the last few weeks where like if Matthew Stafford was on the Browns right now, I'd be like, damn, they're so good. Like, I don't know. That's just what I think. I think he's a good enough quarterback to be a starter in this league for a better team. It's just not Detroit, and
right.
He's not good enough to overcome the issues, but he's good enough to lead a team that has the weapons around him.
Yeah, I'd love him in New Orleans next year.
Well, there you go. That's another option. I don't remember who was the fourth quarterback you mentioned.
We'll keep it quick because I know we know you got to head out. Daniel Jones.
Oh man, that one. I liked Daniel Jones last year a little bit because I just thought he showed enough in a bad situation, but he has been freaking terrible.
Bad.
He's been terrible. Like, just skittish, like he's just like a scared cat. Like somebody gets close to him and he freaks out. It's like the Steelers broke him in week 1, hitting him like 30 times and like that rolling left and throwing that pick. Just like he was over after that. I haven't seen him make one decisive throw the last like 3 weeks. It's always like it's in his head. He's not sure if he should do it. He doesn't. I mean, Jason Garrett's your coach. I would probably be thinking the same thing because Lord knows what that guy. But like. He just hasn't had confidence. He fumbles I think he's had one game in his entire career without a turnover. Like, he just doesn't protect the ball. He's got the tools. He's just not there with that team right now. I don't know. I think he could be one of those. He could end up being like a David Carr situation where people looked at him and they're like, he's got the tools, but he just got hit so much behind a shitty offensive line that like he's just going to be broken forever. No, I hope not, because he's put in a bad spot. No one blocks for him, and his best wide receiver and his top running back are gone. So I can see how he might like struggle, but like he just makes some throws that you're like, what on earth are you doing?
I don't know why, but I get it may not be fair to him, but I get some like Christian Ponder vibes from him.
I was gonna say like a poor man's Jameis Winston, which is hilarious to begin with. Like just a turnover prone, but like he'll make one or two passes. You're like, damn, but like not without Jameis's gun. So like it's a little bit of a bad thing. I don't get the Ponder vibes because Ponder to me was like completely lost. Like you ever see Christian Ponder and be like, I know they had like that like 1 year but he just had like a BB gun for an arm. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, you just never saw it.
I saw with Daniel. I've
seen glimpses.
Yeah, there's some spots you're like, oh man. He threaded that ball in there on the sideline. Like he's got the arm and he's got the athleticism. He just doesn't protect the ball and he makes poor decisions. And again, behind that offensive line, like it's funny to me if you look at like the rookie left tackles that were taken, and they're all playing good except for the one Dave Gettleman drafted.
Andrew Thomas.
Like, yeah, he's not played well. Like now, can he turn it around? It's 5 games into his rookie year, to be fair. But when you compare him to like Wirfs and Becton and all the other guys that went like right after him, like what's his name in Cleveland? Like
Willis,
yeah,
whatever.
So like those guys, like I mean, he picked the wrong. Like it just feels like right now he picked the wrong one. So like playing behind that line, like it sucks. But like I hope he's not damaged beyond repair. But right now he's been one of the probably worst 3 quarterbacks in the league. And they have scored like 2 touchdowns in like 4 weeks. It's disgusting.
That's insane. That's nuts.
The Cowboys were the worst defense in the league. He had 0 passing TDs, and they scored on an end around to a tight end around and like a kickoff return or something. Like they just couldn't score and move the ball. Like to me, it epitomized. He had a chance, got the ball back with like 1:40 left against the Cowboys, tie game. Yeah, at worst, right? You should be tied going. It should go to overtime, get 1 first down, 2 first downs, and nope. I think they went 4 and out. They got 1 first down on the first play, and then they screwed up, and they gave the ball back to the Cowboys with a minute left. Like, come on, man! Like you got to make a play. Like you shouldn't be losing that game in regulation at least. It just didn't make sense. That to me typified him as a quarterback right now. And if he doesn't turn around soon, I don't know. I mean, you tell me. I know the answer, but like you're number one, you got the number 1 pick.
Bye.
He's done.
Bye.
Yeah, he's done.
Even
same
like
with the Jets. Like same with the Jets. Like
even if I wouldn't even. I mean, I don't know. Let's say the Giants got the 2nd pick, right? Like, are you keeping Daniel Jones over, say, like Justin Fields? Like, I don't know.
I don't think so. I mean, okay, me or you, I would say frick no, but I'm not the one who drafted him, and I'm not Dave Gettleman with this old school weird mentality where it's me against the world every time, and I've got to, I can't admit where I'm wrong.
Yeah, I got to prove
unless
something.
it's sarcastically like, oh, I guess I'm wrong. Like, would he? I don't know, man. I would not be willing to bet that he'd give up on Daniel Jones after 2 years, but he should. In my opinion, he should.
And I think, like, here's the thing, like, say whatever you want about him as a coach, but I think Cliff Kingsbury gave you the thing that Ryan and I have talked about is, or he brings it up is what was it, Ryan? Like the sunken fallacy analysis, or
yeah, sunken fallacy.
So Cliff Kingsbury realized quickly that Josh Rosen just wasn't it.
Right.
And they got the number 1 pick, and instead of doubling down on a bad pick, they drafted Kyler Murray. And, I know he's had some issues throwing the ball, whatever, but obviously we've seen enough from college to know, like, he is the truth. Like, there's no, and so to have that, I won't say like bravado, but just to have that gumption to just be like, this isn't our guy. We're going to draft. And Ryan and I bring this up all the time because the Saints have doubled down in terms of their evaluation of like Andres Pete. And it's like, well, they drafted him, top, first round pick. And then even though he hasn't played extremely well over his career, that when he was a free agent, like they signed him to this long deal. And it's like, why is he still playing? Like when he gets hurt and his replacements come in,
blocking,
like, so, but they can't let it go. And so I think that's a huge thing for a lot of
most teams in the
NFL. They can't just let it go. So yeah, it's weird. And if David Gettleman's still the GM of the Giants, even if the Giants have like a 2nd overall pick, like I can see them just doubling down on Daniel Jones. And it's just like, but why?
I mean, it's those situations with like the coach and the GM. Like, can you fire Dave Gettleman next year because he just hired a coach? Or are you going to hire a coach that doesn't like a GM, and then you're going to force a coach on him? This is the Jets situation all over again.
Yeah, now you're the Jets.
So it's screwed up. It's totally screwed up. But that's the way a lot of these teams operate. Like, there's too many to recount that they do the same shit over and over and over and never learn from the other person's mistakes. So that.
All right, Patra, thanks for coming on, man. We know you got to go. We could freaking talk football for hours, but we don't want to take up too much of your time. We know you got to go. We appreciate you coming on, man. You're always welcome. You're like family when you come on. So anytime you're free or available, just know that you have a spot on the show.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good.
Thanks, Kevin.
Sorry. Thanks, guys. Enjoyed it. Have a good one.
You too, man.
Peace.
Peace. All right, so thanks for Kevin, Mr. Patra, for coming on, shooting with us. So real quick, we know people have been asking us about it. Let's dive into, we'll dive really quickly into the Mike Thomas saga, and then we'll dive into this whole Saints going to play at Tiger Stadium and like the Saints Twitter. There's a lot. Like it's just messy. Ryan, they won on Monday. They won Monday Night Football in exhilarating fashion, a game that they probably should have lost. They should have been going into the bye week on cloud 9. You're getting your star receiver back after the bye. Like, kumbaya, like, we're going to start rolling off some wins. Not the Saints. Can't be them.
Nope.
So Ryan and I are both avid Jeff Duncan haters, like big block, whatever. But after the Monday Night Football game, like there's whispers, and Ryan and I we haven't said it really on the pod, but like it felt really weird to us that a fight happened and it caused like a suspension, which actually technically wasn't a suspension, whatever. But I felt like there was more, because fights in practice happen on teams all the time. So then it comes out that there's more, like the team has had issues with Mike Thomas, or the not taping his ankle up right, him being paranoid for them going through his mail, and the what that sounds like paranoid delusional shit. Like I don't like that's some shit I deal with some of my clients. Like
what's going on here, man?
I don't even know. Like I don't even know where. And then there's like these like subtweets on like Instagram, and then Thomas Morstead is subtweeting the Bible to like I don't. I just
Thomas
got
Morstead out here like Cook. Yeah, he like Brandon Cook dropping hit. I'm like, man, what's going on?
Pull the arrows out. Like I don't know, Ryan. I make it make sense. I don't know. All I will say on this situation is this. And me and you said it on Twitter, and I know our Chris, the youngest one of the youngest members of Saints Twitter, like put it out there in the ether. If Mike Thomas was traded in like a year or two, and if Sean Payton's still the head coach of the team, I would not be shocked one bit. They're just
at all.
I'm not saying that whatever Jeff Duncan is saying is true, but what I am saying is that there is too much smoke for there not to be any type of fire.
Right. And I mean, like I said, we've seen this movie before. Sean Payton he could love you, but he will sour on you extremely fast. We saw it with Jimmy Graham, him, Sean Payton going to arbitration hearings and basically making the presentations against Jimmy Graham.
Had the PowerPoints out, bro.
Had the PowerPoint presentations out and everything. Jimmy wasn't feeling that. Then the season comes around. Jimmy is dunking the uprights twice in the preseason game, getting flags on purpose. You could tell, and Sean Payton soured on him quick, traded him. Brandon Cooks started talking about, hey, you gotta get fed.
Closed mouths that don't get fed.
Closed mouths don't get fed. He started getting a little choppy. And Sean Payton loved Brandon Cooks. Like Sean Payton
loved him, bro.
He drafted Cook at the combine. Like,
yes, he loved him.
Just like that, soured on it. And he loves Mike Thomas. He is a Mike Thomas. I mean, Mike Thomas by the man J's, and Sean Payton wears those J's faithfully. Them things dirty as a mug now. He be wearing them. And so it's like, and all that's fine, but like Sean Payton, man, he will just sour on you and move on. Like, especially as a wide receiver, and and then they've shown the past couple of weeks, like, the offense can function without you. It's not, it's not perfect, but They'll figure out a way. Now, I don't want to see Mike Thomas traded. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying you, as a Saints fan, you need to just equip yourself and get yourself ready that it could happen.
Prepare yourself, because if things like, here's the way I see it: if he comes back and they start rolling off wins, they start humming, and things are better, I think all this shit goes away, right? Because there was a little bit of this with the Alvin Kamara situation when he was trying to get paid, but I feel like this Mike Thomas thing is deeper than the AK situation. Like
AK was just purely about money.
Right? This feels messy.
Mike Thomas is one of the highest paid wide receivers in the league. He, it's not about money. He's just, it's just personalities. He's an
alpha
personality. He's an alpha dog.
And so is Sean.
You know what I'm saying? So this is what happens. I mean, we know, the diva receiver. This has been around in the league for decades. So, how does Sean manage it is the question. I think like we talked about on last on the podcast before, the team is just tight. It's
tight, bruh.
Things haven't looked great. They're winning, but the wins aren't great. It's just the team is just tight right now.
You can feel it. You can feel it.
So I just I wouldn't overreact to it too much. But just keep an eye on it and just prepare yourself, Saints fans. Just I remember how I felt when Jimmy Graham got traded. I felt like one of my homies died or something.
Man, I was hurt. Ryan, like I told you on the pod, like I felt more heartbreaking when he got traded than I felt with like breaking up with people in the past. Like,
right,
exactly. It just tore my heart out. And so what Ryan and I are trying to say is that if you see that tweet from Schefter in a year or two, like, don't be surprised, and like it's gonna be okay. It will be. Also, okay, so that's enough about Mike Thomas. We're gonna end with this. So the Saints have been steadfast about asking the city of New Orleans to allow fans, into the Superdome for games, and the mayor has pushed back and said, not now. It's not the time. So then they want to say, like, well, if we ain't gonna play in the Superdome with the allotment of fans we want to have there, we're gonna go to Baton Rouge. We gonna go to Tiger Stadium and have fans at Tiger Stadium for our games. And the mayor was like, all right, bet.
Bye.
Okay, and so then today, like the Saints official Twitter account, like I had to check it to see who was tweeting it, like was posting like these statistics of like teams that have had fans, and like I thought my boy Repo, Alex Repo was like being held hostage. I didn't know what was going on. It's just a mess, and all this is going on in a pandemic. We have like a team like the Falcons who just had to shut down because 4 of their players tested positive. The Titans just had literally like 20 plus players and coaches just finally getting over a pandemic. Like, I don't understand like what the rush is to allow fans back into the Superdome. And then a point that you made on Twitter, which is so salient, is like, imagine being a fan going to a game and you see like fucking Marshawn Lattimore get cooked, and and then you leave and you got like 106 degrees fever. Like, what?
And you got a fever now, and then you didn't infected your grandma. Your grandma got to go to the hospital just because you won't go watch the Saints.
Come on, man. I don't get it. I really don't.
And it's just so crazy. And, trust me, I get it. I know there are plenty of fans that are, willing to, just make the risk assessment and go see the team. And, that's what they want to do, fine. And, if the Saints want to make that happen by going to Baton Rouge, then okay, then go and do it. But what I think they were trying to do is try to, they were trying to pull one to try to force Mayor Cantrell's hand by coming public like that with it. And she don't play like that. Like, that's cheap, don't try to call her hands publicly. Like, you want to take it on the back channels, okay, but you try to put it in the news you really gonna put her in like a a cat against stuck in a corner. She ain't gonna budge. You know what I'm saying? Now you definitely ain't gonna have nobody. You might not get nobody in the Superdome for the rest of the year. So I didn't like that move. I thought that was stupid. I thought it was ignorant. And you got to understand, the mayor has to think about the entire city, and there's already thousands of businesses that are still closed that have to abide by the protocols that she put in place. It's not fair for her to make a little exception for the New Orleans Saints. Even though it's the adored team, you can't just do that and just say, okay, we're special, give us a special exemption when you've had huge events canceled, people invested millions of dollars in things. All that's going to push aside. You got Mardi Gras probably going to be canceled next year. You already have Mardi Gras parades. Big Nam Tok is not going to be already canceled for next year. You know what I'm saying? So no, you know what I'm saying? They just have to be. I think they should have been a little more diplomatic about it instead of just firing off tweets and all that stuff. Is like, come on now, don't just step and don't why step into that water. The COVID-19. I mean, it's so toxic. It's political now. It's been political for a while. It's a hot button issue. You got a presidential election coming. It's like don't step in those waters, man. And they just step right in it, like, hey, right on the bye week. They just walk right into it.
Just swimming in the swamp. Just backstrokes.
Just be patient. Be patient. Mayor Cantrell, she's already moved to phase 3.2 this weekend from 3.1 last week. Just be patient. Be patient. The time, maybe it will, maybe it won't. We'll see how this is a novel disease. We have to see how it goes. Maybe in a week or two, maybe in a month, or maybe not. But you just have to just roll with it and see. Oh, if not, in Baton Rouge, welcome. Okay, go and play in Baton Rouge, But don't make this big, this big public thing like this. I was like, oh man, Saints, what y'all doing, bro? What are y'all doing?
Like, why? Like, what, bro? I don't get it. Why? They can't be normal. I had to retweet your tweet or quote tweet your tweet from 4 years ago. Like, it's always something.
Always some shit, bro.
Scandal, drama,
something.
Them losing in the
I've forgotten scandals with this team. People bring it up to me. I forgot about that.
You know what was funny though is like when Greg Benzel or Benzel or whatever was like putting out those statements. I was like, ain't you the one that like talked to like the Catholic Church? Like maybe you should. Yeah. that gets forgotten.
That's another scandal. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Coach Payton popping Vicodins. Shit. Oh, we got so many.
That's our team, though. But anyway, we want So like I said, we know it's the bye week. We just kind of do a quick recap of all this crazy Saints news. Kevin came on. We wanted to do longer with Kevin, but his time was limited. We wanted to talk more. Talk more teams around the NFL, but we got as much in as we could. Hopefully maybe this week we'll have another episode talking about something, even if it's not Saints football related. But as always, we appreciate all our listeners. We appreciate our Patreons. I know I feel like I keep repeating but shit is on the way. Like yes. Ryan and I are finalizing plans of hopefully getting a new updated logo, also getting everything down regarding merchandise. So it's in the works. So please just be patient with us. But we do appreciate all the support that we're getting right now. Like
hey, listen, send some recommendations too. Things y'all think would be cool. Let us know.
Yeah. So we have our Twitter page at Saints Twitter pod POD. So you can help us on Twitter. Also, we do have the Instagram live as well. That's at Saints Twitter podcast. You could follow Ryan on Twitter, send him a DM at that boy Wolf. I guess you could follow me on Twitter.
Good luck.
You know what? Don't just stay with our account.
Don't follow Adam. Just don't do it.
Probably for the best. But we do have more. We do have more stuff coming. And then Saints fans, today's Thursday. Enjoy football this week. Like Enjoy it.
Listen.
It's to me, it's one of the best the best football weeks of the year, bro, of the season.
LSU not playing either for y'all LSU fans, man.
Come on, man. Just enjoy it, and just take it for granted. You know, don't take it for granted, because I know next Sunday, here we go again. They're playing the Panthers. Just chill. Just chill. Things are gonna be all right. And even if things aren't in terms of the team, like if shit goes crazy, I mean, the trade deadline's coming in a couple of weeks. So if something crazy were to happen, like I don't see it happening, but let's say like Michael Thomas got traded, you know what? It's gonna be all right. Like it's cool. Like it goes on.
Enjoy the fun, man. Enjoy the craziness.
That's it. Like just laugh. Just laugh. It's entertainment. It's literally entertainment.
Crazy,
that's it. That's all it is.
You're a fan of a crazy ass team.
Crazy. Oh, what the fuck were we thinking, bro? What were we thinking? All right. So with that, we're gonna get out. We appreciate the support as always. With that, we're out.
Peace.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.